Continuing with the creating calculated fields, we'll try to understand what is aliases and why we need aliases. So with some of the examples, we'll try to understand the business need and the examples. So this is something which is we have seen in the previous sessions where we can combine or concatenate few fields into a single column. When we do that, you can see this is a city state zip we have combined, but there is no column header. No, you can see when we are not combining like this, then it just gives a blank name, column name, or it just mention as no column name in the bracket. So this is something which is not looking good, and we don't understand what is this exactly. That means whether it is an address or whether it is something which is some other column, we don't understand it. So in that case, we need to find out means what is that exact column name. In that case, aliases comes into the picture where we actually give some aliases like this, where we do mention as address. So something which is we meaningful to that particular column, so that we can give it here. So here you can see this is a concatenated operator we have used instead of that no column name. Now it is showing as address because we have given this way. So this is the way we can do by mentioning as, and after that the column name. Suppose there is we wanted to mention as a full address, then when we have two words or more than one word with spaces, then this just giving like this as full address will not work. So we need to give that a square bracket. So that is something which is we can do. So this is one way. There is another way as well. We instead of as, we can means no need to specify as, but we can just give like this as well, and it will also come as a full address here. So that is something which is the use of aliases, and this is very useful when we have these calculated fields where we are using many calculated fields, and we need to have some meaningful column names so that it will be helpful for us or the businesses to identify the data properly. The another use of this aliases is something which is we can rename a column if the real table or column name contains illegal characters. That means suppose there are some characters or some specific special symbols as well. At that time you can rename that column to a specific meaningful name. Or there is another expanding column names if the original names are either ambiguous or easily misread. That means something which is not understandable, or it may be some types of duplication or ambiguous column names. So that time as well to distinguish the column names properly, we can rename them with the aliases. So that is another usage of the aliases. And in summary, we have seen what is the business need of aliases and the examples how we can use this. So we will try to see this practically now. Now let's try to understand how we can use aliases in the SQL queries. We have seen theoretical concepts in the previous session, and now we wanted to see means how we can implement this. Now the aliases is a very simple thing which is very much needed whenever we wanted to define column names in a proper way or something meaningful way. For that, what is the purpose of this aliases? Now this is the query which is we can see it now here, which is just giving state, city, zip, these three columns, and after that there is a column name which is showing it here, which is we just combine three columns into as a address. So something which is, but here it is showing as a column header as no column name, because this is something which is we haven't given anything, and by default it takes no column name, and this doesn't look good, and we don't know means what this column means. So suppose someone else is seeing this query and try to run this, then by seeing the data they will not understand means what does this column exactly mean. For that, what we can do, we can use aliases to define these column names. How we can do that? We can just specify as, and then we can just mention as address. Once we do this, and if you just try to run this, you can say this has been column header has been changed to the address. So this is the way we can do it. Now suppose this is just a one word, we haven't given anything, we can just mention like this, which is also fine. Whatever way means, uh, there is another way, or instead of just as mentioning as, we can just mention as address. So that is also fine, and if we can run it, it will work. So it will consider as a that alias name for that particular calculated field. Now there is another way. Suppose if you have this full address, Like this, if I wanted to specify and if I try to run this, then it will not work because it doesn't understand means what is these two things. And suppose we wanted to make these two words column name, like there are requirements when we wanted to do that, then we can mention as the square bracket in this, which will just identify that this is the column name. And if you just try to run this, then it will come like this. So this way we can use this aliases. We can mention here as also, this is fine. Without that also it is fine. So this is very important to understand whenever we are using calculated fields. So we need to make sure that the column names are properly given, and so that it will be meaningful for the other people or for the business to understand, because that is what is going to be used further for other processings. So this is the way we can implement aliases. I hope you liked it, and I will see you in next session.